A very good morning, dear students. According to your timetable, today you have English CV, right? So get ready with your book. Open your book at the page number 6. Today I am going to continue the explanation from where I stopped in the previous class. Do you remember what we got in the last class? We have learned about a shellfish giant who was not only very much selfish but also did not like children at all, right? After returning back to his own castle, after long 7 years, he saw children playing in the beautiful garden which belonged to him. Since he was very much selfish, so he could not tolerate it, and he erected a huge wall around his garden, as well as he at the same time he put up a notice board. Do you remember what was written on the notice board? It was written, "Trespassers will be prosecuted," right? Since the children stopped going into the garden because they were not allowed to enter, that's why they stopped. So sometimes they played in the road, but it was not good at all to play on the road, right? So they became very sad. Sometimes while coming back from the school, they stood near the garden and appreciated the beauty of the garden and expressed their disappointment, their sadness to each other, as they could not enter and play inside anymore. Yes, this is what we got in the last class. So now let us start from the second paragraph of page number 6. Let's look at the book. Then the spring came, and all over the country there were little blossoms and little birds. Only in the garden of selfish giant it was still winter. In the previous class, I think you remember, we also got that during spring season flowers blossom in the garden of the selfish giant, right? And during autumn season, the fruits like peach got ripened. The trees bore rich fruits during the autumn season we got. But now you see, once the children stopped entering into the garden, then a change took place. What change happened? You see, during the spring season, everywhere in the country, the flowers bloom, birds sang, but only in the garden of the selfish giant it was still winter. The bird did not care to sing in it, as there were no children and the trees forgot to blossom. So as a result of the children not entering into the garden, so a change took place. What is that? That during the spring season also, spring did not came into the garden. Only winter was prevailing there. Once a beautiful flower put its head out from the grass, but when it saw the notice board, it was so sorry for the children that it slipped back into the garden again and went off to sleep. So somehow a flower started, or it was trying to bloom, it appeared, but when the flower saw the notice board where it was written that trespassers will be prosecuted, means the children were not allowed to enter, then the flower it itself slipped back into the ground again and went off to sleep. So it did not bloom. The only people who were pleased with the snow and the frost. So here, dear children, you see snow and frost. In literature, there is some literary devices like, simile, metaphors like that. Here, I don't want to say something more about those things, but here what you are getting? Personification. It's a literary device. So, snow and the frost. Here, they are represented as human being, as a man, as people. So, in this line it is given, the only people who were pleased with the snow and the frost. Can you think that yes, snow and frost can be someone? No. Human being? No. But the author, the writer, he has represented them as a human being, and it is called personification, personified. Okay. So let me continue the same, repeat the same line. The only people who were pleased with the snow and the frost. Spring has forgotten this garden, they cried. So snow and frost, like human being, they cried that spring has forgotten this garden. The spring did not came, means the spring did not enter into the garden. The spring has, you are getting some meaning of the difficult word here. Cloak is a long loose outer garment. It is used as a metaphor. So this is metaphor, I just told you. Metaphor is another literary device. So cloak is used as metaphor here. And the frost painted all the trees silver. So they covered the trees. Then they invited the north wind to stay with them, and he came. So north wind, it is represented as male figure, right? So they invited the north wind also, and the north wind, it brought cold winter again back to the garden. So he was wrapped in furs. How was the north wind? He was wrapped in furs. And he rode all day about the garden. He was roaring, he was shouting, and blew the chimney pots down. Since north wind is wind, means hawa. So what it was doing? It blew so high, that so fast, so tremendously, that it broke the chimney pots and brought it down. This is a delightful spot, he said. We must ask the hail to visit us. So now the north wind, he was going to invite hail. So who is hail? Hail is a small, hard pellets of ice that fall from the sky like rain. So now north wind is going to invite hail to the place. So the hail came. Every day for 3 hours he rattled on the roof of the castle till he broke most of the slates, and then he ran down and round the garden as fast as he could go. He was dressed in grey, and his breath was like ice hail. Okay, the hail, it was dressed in grey. The color of his dress was grey, and it was destroying from one way. Throughout the whole day it ran round and round the garden, and as fast as he could. He was dressed in grey, and his breath was like ice, means it was full completely, there was winter. I cannot understand why the spring is so late in coming, said the selfish giant. So now the giant noticed all these things, and he thought that why the spring is so late in coming. And he sat at the window and looked out at his cold white garden. And he was sitting near the window, and he was looking outside and saw the garden was covered with frost, and it was winter. I hope there will be change in the weather. He expected that maybe some changes will take place soon. But the spring never came, nor the summer. So nothing came. Neither spring came nor the summer. The autumn gave golden fruits to every garden, but to the giant's garden she gave none, nothing, no change. Only so how one can expect of getting fruits, flowers, since it was winter only. So you know how is the winter season. He's too selfish, she said. Who said? Autumn. Autumn season personified. Here autumn is personified. And autumn said that he is too selfish. And so it was always winter there. And the north wind and the hail and the frost and the snow danced about through the trees. So neither winter nor summer nor autumn came to the garden. Why? Because the children were not there. We understood, isn't it? So dear students, let me stop here. I'll continue the later part of the chapter in the next class. Thank you.